Hola, turubem, konnichiwa. ¿Cómo estás? Hello. What it do? Thank you for listening to another episode of the J-Boy Sports Podcast. And we are going to be discussing for the first time on this channel, Michael Jeffrey Jordan. I have not really spoken about Michael Jordan before on this channel, but I thought this was a good way to introduce it. And so that's what we're going to do today. I'm not the biggest Michael Jordan fan. And what I mean by that is I don't know everything about Michael Jordan like some people do that are really very big Jordan fans. I like Michael Jordan. I watched Space Jam as a kid. That's how I was introduced to him. But his time was a little bit before mine. So I wasn't old enough to really understand exactly what I was watching or why I was even watching it. So everything, well, not everything, but certain things that I've learned about Michael Jordan are not things that I lived and experienced as they were happening. They're things that I saw, off of YouTube, or where I really saw Jordan was in the 2000s when he came back, when he was playing against T-Mac and Allen Iverson and Vince and Kobe at that time. That's when I was able to really see Michael Jordan. He was an older Jordan, but he was still nice. I mean, he was cooking people. But today's story, we're going to go back into the past a little bit and talk about his it wasn't a beef. I wouldn't call it a beef. As far as I saw, there's not really a beef there, but what he felt about Clyde Drexler. And they always said Michael didn't need a lot to get himself going, and he would maybe sometimes even make stuff up to get himself going. And one of the things that he got himself going with was Clyde Drexler. At the time, he was saying that people compared him to Clyde, and it kind of made him angry because he felt like, I'm the best. No one else is me. And I don't have a problem with him saying that, because he also said, I thought Clyde was a great player. But he was just like, I took it personal, and I wanted to make sure that there was a separation there. And you got to respect that, man. You got to respect that. That's that mentality that I personally like to have in my athletes, but especially in my greatest athletes of all time. And Jordan's in that list. He's on that small list of the greatest players we've ever seen. He's on that small list of the greatest players you've ever seen in any sport, in any time period, ever, in the history of the world. He was that good. But I thought this was an interesting clip because it just solidifies one of the things I have an issue with in today's era, which is who wants to be the best, right? Part of why I believe the All-Star game is struggling is because nobody wants to be the best anymore. Nobody wants to be the best. The last person that wanted to be the best every day was Kobe Bryant. I haven't seen it since. And that's not to say he was always the best. There was other people that also wanted that title. But he brought that energy, right? Kobe brought that energy, that I'm the best energy. He brought it with him everywhere he went. This is a competition. Make no doubt about it. Even in an exhibition game, I'm still going to, if you don't put up a fight, I'm going to walk all over you and embarrass you and show the difference between me and you. So I've done a little bit of exposition here. I've explained what our situation is. Let's hear it from MJ himself, how he felt about being compared to another great. He admits that Clyde was great, but he took it personal. Let's check out what he had to say.
Clyde Drexler, who's the best? Michael Jordan or Clyde Drexler? That was kind of a conversation during that time.
Well, it was the best two guards at that time.
Clyde was a threat. I'm not saying he wasn't a threat, but me being compared to him, I took offense to that.
I wanted people to know the difference between me and Clyde. It was always a comparison.
Yes.
And I didn't want it to be a comparison. I wanted it to be totally different. I wanted people to see that on the highest stage.
So he hit that first three.
Jordan again from three-point land.
And then here come the second one.
Jordan wide open for another three.
The third.
For Jordan again for three. For Jordan again for three. 4-3-point field goal. Michael Jordan with 4 3-pointers and a half has tied the NBA Finals record. Jordan again from downtown. Did you see that? Michael indicating he can't believe it. record 35 points in the half.
35 points, first game in the first half, making everything.
He was like, I'm killing this dude.
I had nothing else to do but that. I mean, when I said that, look, it's like I'm not in control here. It's like somebody's in my body and I'm making shots all over the place. So what else can you do?
So this is Michael Jordan speaking about how he went absolutely berserk in the 1992 finals. I mean, the guy was amazing. And if you go back and ever take a look at it, I didn't watch it live. Like I said, I was younger then. And when you go back and take a look at it, I mean, the man went berserk. And he had 35 points in the first half of the first game, which is insane if you're talking about the NBA Finals. There's just nobody stopping him. And he really said, I wanted there to be a separation between me and Clyde. And so when you listen to stuff like this, man, people try to compare a lot of guys to Michael Jordan, and it's really hard. There's really only one person that can truly, mindset-wise and ability-wise, be compared to Michael Jordan. I think Kareem is a strong candidate for best player ever just because of what he was able to do, rules having to be changed for him, his sky hook. He's a strong candidate for that. But outside of Kareem, it's really hard to compare other people to Michael Jordan. Outside of Kareem and Kobe Bryant, in my opinion. But listen to this mindset, man. This is what makes you great. People want to talk about skill set and all these other things. And yes, Mike had a great skill set. But listen to the mindset. I took it personal that people said we were in the same league. Everybody out here nowadays is out here high-fiving, giving people credit. Oh, he could shoot this, he could shoot that. He's just an excellent player. And he gave him their credit. He said he was excellent, but he said, listen, without saying it, he was like, but he's not me. And he went out there and proved it, man. If you look at this stat that I have up here, right here, these statistics, Michael Jordan in the 92 finals averaged 35.8 points per game, 6.5 assists, and 4.8 rebounds in 6 games in the NBA Finals. Now remember, him and Clyde are going head-to-head here. He had 33 points. I think that was, they said game 1 of the finals. I think that was game 2 of the finals, That was game 2, I think, that he went berserk like that. But he had 33 in game 1. He had 46 in game 2. He had 32 in game 3. He had 26 in game 4, 39 in game 5, and 39 in game 6. I mean, the guy was going nuts on him. He was just going nuts. And he was determined to make sure that the next time you mention Clyde Drexler, it will not be next to Michael Jordan. And Clyde didn't have a terrible series himself. I mean, look, Clyde's first game wasn't that good. He only had 16. But in game 2, he had 26. He had 32 in game 3. He had 21 in game 4. He had 30 in game 5. He had 24 in game 6. So by all accounts, like Mike said, and also he averaged basically 25 points, 8 boards, 5.3 assists in 6 games. And actually, let me just go back. I want to see something, because this also proves to my point. He averaged more boards than Mike, but Mike averaged more assists. Okay. Yeah. Mike averaged 7 assists and 5 boards. Clyde averaged basically 8 boards and 5.3 assists. Okay. But when you look at this, again, Clyde was an excellent player. He was fantastic. When you hear people talk about Clyde, they give him his props. They say he was nice. Clyde the Glide. They said he floated through the air, like Mike, almost. But at the same time, he still wasn't Mike, man. Clyde had a great series by all accounts, and Mike just had a much, much better series, which is crazy. Almost 10 points per game more. So he's almost 10 points per game better than Clyde Drexler in this series. And that's what you got to realize about Michael Jordan, ladies and gentlemen. It was him, and then it was, the other guys were good too, but he looked to separate himself. And he said it, that I'm going to separate myself from, in this case, Clyde Drexler. We played the same position. I don't want there to be a mistake. And if the players don't have that in them, then what do you have, man? And I'm just going to say this really quickly because the video is not really about this, but I used to play basketball all the time at LA Fitness. I've been slacking on my basketball. My life got more difficult. I got married, but I was still playing up until like COVID, and then now I don't really get a chance to play as much. And because I got married right before all the COVID stuff really happened. Then I had a son, and I just haven't been balling the way I used to. But one of the things that was driving me nuts is this idea that in order to be, like, not wanting to be the best, like you wanted to play on the best team. And when I go to the gym, I'm probably never going to be the best player in the gym, not the absolute best player. And I was fine with that, but I was going to be the best competitor. And I didn't care who was on my team. I felt like we could win. And I know what I'm good at. So I knew that if I could get to certain things, I could potentially be the best player on the floor for a game or 2 games if I got to my moves and got to what I could do. Sometimes that's hard in open basketball because people want to do their own thing on the court. But if I was able to do, if the ball was moving and I was able to get to my spots, get some good picks set, able to get in the open court, then I could be, I could play well. But what I noticed is that people started they didn't want to compete no more. They just wanted to pick up the best guys off the losing team. And you're seeing this and you're seeing this and you're seeing this. And it's like, yo, you keep picking up losers that don't care. And that's like something that I saw that really, and it wasn't always like that. It started changing more and more. And I realized like the basketball I fell in love with, even at the gym is falling off. Even at the park, it's not the same no more. Because nobody really wants to compete. But that's also why you're not really going to see another Jordan. You're not going to see another Kobe Bryant. Because, well, actually, that's not true. Because I do see some glimpses in players like SGA. And I have a lot of hope for him, and I believe in him because, to me, he's the closest thing to those guys that we're going to see in today's era. He's a great offensive player, a great defensive player, and a great leader. And to me, those are the 3 main things that you need to be super successful and, be at the top of your game in basketball. Everybody gets enamored with all this other stuff, but look, if you're talking Mike and Kobe, that's 11 rings and only 2 losses and a bunch of, crazy scoring feats and great defense and obviously insane leadership. And obviously, outrageous mentality to be the best. If you can get close to manipulating those things, then I think you could win some championships. I don't think it's all about you getting a triple-double. You running high pick and roll for the entire game to be successful. So, I just wanted to share that with you guys and just show the difference in determination between Michael Jordan and even a Clyde Drexler. Sometimes it's mindset. Right? Sometimes it's just mindset, and he just would not be denied, and he wanted to kill you and took it personal. So thank you for listening to this episode of the J-Boy Sports Podcast. If you like this, please like it, share, and subscribe. And don't, turn off the video immediately because there's going to be some suggested videos that come up towards the end. And you might be interested in one of those if you really like this one. So thank you very much for your time. I'm very humble. I truly appreciate you. Much love.
I can tell that somehow you'll never get over leaving me. And when you feel like coming